Alright, before continuing through the illusion, let's try one more time about Lady Maria. I've also bothered to try to ring the bell to see if I can get some help from some of these people around, which they clearly showcase a couple of their ghosts, but I'm afraid they might not respond. But I
You
might as
should
well
really
just
put
wait.
some. You should really put some weed killer around that plant.
Yeah, to be fair, it's not even surrounded much by weed. It's just a bunch of sunflowers, and some of them seems to be fine. So,
Hmm.
all right. Well, we wait. In the meantime, I will engage in a battle in a second. Might as well start already. Dweebs, what happened since last time from your end?
Um. Well, I actually saw a movie today called Crime 101.
Okay, what's it about?
It's a movie directed by a British person. Actually, it's set in the US. It's directed and screenplay written by the name of Bartholomew Nicholas Layton.
Okay, Bart Layton. Okay.
Yeah. It stars Chris Hemsworth, and he is a jewel thief who goes around, well, obviously robbing jewels while making sure he doesn't leave behind any evidence and also doesn't resort to violence.
Considering how bulky he is, I find that particularly challenging.
And yet somehow he managed to do it, bar what sets off the events of the movie.
Okay.
It also stars a bunch of other famous people like Mark Ruffalo, um, Barry Keoghan, Monica Barbaro, Nick Nolte, and Halle
Huh.
Berry, among
How
others.
old is Nick Nolte by this point? He looked already old by the time of Old 2003, and that was, like 23
He's
years ago.
he's 85. He plays he plays an criminal underworld leader
Huh.
called Money.
He really looked already that much old in Old 2003.
It's fine. I mean, I don't think it's something I'm going to remember in about a few weeks. But I mean, overall, I think it did its job relatively okay.
What company distributed him? Distributed it, sorry, the movie.
Well, it depends where you live. If you're from the US or Canada, it was Amazon NGM. Everywhere else was Sony.
Okay, so it's a co-production.
Well, MGM was one of the production companies of the movie.
Hmm. So that's why it's partially Amazon.
Oh, and another one of the companies that produced it was a British production company called Raw.
Okay. Like,
Yeah, I'm sure there's a joke in there somewhere.
don't, yeah, they let the lions roaming around their house.
It's fucking raw or
It's
something.
fucking
RAW.
raw!
Also, after many months of waiting, my order for the Thunderbirds Blu-ray has finally arrived. The Puppet series, in case you're wondering.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's got a load of special features packed in it. I haven't even watched them all yet. So I'll have to wait and see on that front. And I've also got a few tickets to some other movies coming out in March.
Okay, such as.
Story of Your Mom. That's not really one
But
of
what's the movie's title?
them. Yeah, okay, that's not really a movie.
I mean, it could be
Um,
the stealth sequel to American Pie, for all we know. Ow.
How I Killed Your Mother. I don't know. That was a bit drastic. In reality, I'm watching How to Make a Killing
Okay.
about Glenn Powell going around killing rich people to get his hands on an inheritance.
Huh.
The Bride! Exclamation mark. And Project Hail Mary. That new sci-fi movie.
Mm-hmm. Alright, let's give it one more try, then we'll move on. Beware.
Probably the next film we'll be seeing after that is the Mario Galaxy movie.
Mm-hmm. Remind me when exactly it's supposed to come out?
But Mario Galaxy,
Yeah.
right at the start of April.
Oh, okay, so, wow, Easter release. How bizarre.
Well, it's not too far to wait at least.
No. I could have swore it was supposed to be, stated for May, but maybe it's like that for my country, I don't know.
Suppose.
Well, maybe IMDb tells, while we're at it, Lives, can you give a look?
Okay.
I don't think so, because these days movies tends to be released around the same time as, their original language counterpart.
There we go. There's release dates. No, I don't want the German release date.
Scheiße.
April 1st, same as us.
Wow, that's quite the joke. I think I already said that.
Yeah, Japan, the country Mario comes from, doesn't get it till April 24th.
It's weird because again, Chris Melandri is still part of the board of directors of Nintendo, so you would think that for a product like that, there will still be, some level of, not resonance, but, priority to give to the movie's release. I don't know. How did the first, the 2023 Mario movie perform in Japan?
I'll have to check Box Office Mojo for
Sure.
that.
I don't remember many people talking about how that version of Mario's VA sounded like. Mostly people focus on telling about the French version, if I recall correctly.
Yeah, the French version. Again, I can't judge too much because I don't know French, but it did sound an awful lot like Mario.
I can tell you, like I said, that my country's version was not really, apt at all. They hired a comedian for the role, and he really just was there to be, celebrity in the role.
Well, in Japan, apparently grossed over $101 million.
Equivalent. So yeah, it is, if I recall correctly, that's still, a high sum for a Japanese box office.
Yeah, like around here in the United Kingdom, it grossed over $67 million.
So yeah, bit of a jump.
Italy, it grossed over $22 million.
Yeah, okay. We have to remember that in a lot of cases, if I recall correctly, they did mention it a few weeks ago. James Cameron's Avatar was considered the highest grossing movie in my country ever. Up until recently, where a movie about a comedian that I really don't like apparently grossed more. Look, a local one is it, one from my country. Alright, let's move on. We'll come back to Lady Maria another time.
Is that why James Cameron re-released Avatar?
I don't know.
Specifically to try and take the title back from that one movie.
Alright, last we were at Kanehurst Castle, particularly at Logarius Seat. There you go. And if you recall, we had just revealed the illusion by wearing Martyr Logarius' crown. So it's time to finally answer the question, what is beyond, that the throne, beyond the stair. So let's get there. I really dig the design of this staircase because it also has these statues of knights on horseback, which feels so bizarre because we haven't really encountered anything like that in the game. So
It's very elaborate.
yeah, it gives a personality to the Kanehurst. And the throne room of the Queen of the Wildlords, surrounded by a fuck ton of statues. And apparently the Queen wants us to kneel in front of her, so, why not? If you want to talk to her, we need to kneel, so why not?
Moon-scented hunter.
This is one too many candles.
Who lights up these?
Magic, probably.
Yeah, let's go with that. She's a wild blood, so she probably has some mystical powers.
Sworn enemy of the church. Yet our people are murdered.
Love how she paused, like she like she said she tricked us into thinking that she'd finished her intro, but it turns out that was just going on.
Dramatic effect.
Yeah. Alright, let's see what happens if our characters seems for this queen. Not even kidding. You can potentially retrieve a ring from, I don't remember which specific place, potentially give it to her, because the game might make you assume that you're going for a quest line about, you know, romancing her, but she just laughs in your face, basically. I'm saying this because I'm not gonna pursue remotely that, is just for the sake of, you know, mentioning it.
I prithee.
I don't remember who she's voiced by. You may notice that she uses royal we because, you know, royalty and blah blah blah. Yeah, why not?
Drink deep of our blood.
Basically, this gives you the Covenant, if I recall correctly, the Covenant rune of the Valbloods, which is the equivalent of the ones in the Dark Souls games where you could invade in other games.
We too, the very last on this earth.
Yeah, we get the Cainur's badge and the Corruption rune, and also the Respect emote.
We await thy return. For the honor.
It's a bit hard to notice, but her face is concealed by a metal mask. There are basically story reasons for this. The idea that, you know, again, the Valbloods are basically equivalent of vampires, so it was put there as a restraining, probably by the executioners. But she's not lying, she's immortal. But let's pick up this object next to the throne room. An unopened summoning letter. Let's give it a look-see.
Don't read it; it'll kill you.
No, it's similar to the one that we had, but it's unopened. An old sealed summons. Like the first of its kind, it is an invitation to Cainhurst, but for whom is not known, as it lacks an addressee. So, technically, it could be given to anyone, theoretically, and anyone who had it could arrive to Cainhurst Castle. Say, wasn't there someone who was trying to track down the Wild-Bloods? I seem to remember someone who did it. It would be a real shame if this letter finds its end into the executioner's hand.
Oh yeah, while Tio's on his way there, I forgot to mention something actually. A surprise announcement that about the Pokemon anniversary. They stealth dropped a release date for the Pokemon Fire Red and Leaf Green Switch releases.
Yeah, for $20, and they don't really work 100% the way they used to, but, you know, whatever floats your boat.
And yeah, cue all the obnoxious people who brag about how they're gonna pirate it or something instead. They're like,
that's also
cool,
the thing with
you do you. It's not now. Please leave me alone. It's not the badge of honor you claim it is.
I mean, first of all, theoretically, it has an advantage because it could be completed, unlike the Switch version. Second, it could be done beforehand as well. It's not like it magically can happen since now.
And have you seen how much physical prices of those things are going?
Oh, it's terrible. Don't look that.
I already looked.
Where was I supposed to? Right, the executioner. No, it's not right here. It was before the entrance to the Forbidden Woods, right? Oh, it's while it's not super common, you might faintly heard occasionally also a child's crying. That's still part of the insight mechanic, basically. After you defeat Rom the Vacuum Spider, occasionally while you're in Yarman you will hear this child crying. This is actually connected to something that we'll get to later, to a specific part of the nightmare. Excuse me, coming through. Nope, not this one either. Oh yeah, here's another mechanic. Some particular enemies with these lanterns, if you have enough insight, the lanterns will suddenly have eyes and the enemy will gain a complete new attack by throwing small projectiles at you. No, actually it's not like... Where was I supposed to go to get... Maybe I was... Alright, let's defeat these guys first. Okay, yes, there you go. Alright, let's talk to our good old buddy, the Executioner.
Oh, good to see you safe. Now, let's think up something to discuss. Just tell me what piques your interest.
Say, I got this unopened letter.
Is that the sigil of Canehurst? I've heard tell of Canehurst nobles and their amusingly pompous invitations. Wonderful. I thank you profusely. I will depart immediately, but first, a token of my gratitude.
And we get the Wheel Hunter badge, which allows us to get more items in the shop. And the church bow, gesture.
Ah, I feel my master's hand at work.
And nothing will come of this.
No,
Praise
absolutely.
the good
You might have
God.
noticed that it's
And let us
interestingly
cleanse
enough.
these tarnished streets.
If you noticed, I did swear my oath to the Valblood Queen, but the Executioner did not recognize me as such. I do wonder if there was an event planned where if you had swear your allegiance, he would be hostile immediately towards you, but no, nothing has happened yet, so possibly a dummied out mechanic. Because it's weird because, you know, if you recall, in the first Dark Souls game, patches did have a specific branching, you know, pathway if you were actually playing as a cleric. Because it was part of the story, the fact that he hates, you know, clergyman and everything. So, I don't know, I do wonder, because the story made it a good point that the Executioner absolutely detests the Vile Blood. So it would have made sense for that to be the natural conclusion, but whatevs. Let's go back to the throne room and see if everything's alright. Alright, let's go here. Back to the stairway.
Master, look! I've done it!
Oh.
I've done it! I smashed and pounded and ground this rotten siren into fleshy pink pulp. There, you filthy monstrosity! What good's your immortality now? Try stirring up trouble in this sorry state. All mangled and twisted, with every inside on the outside for all the
You
world
alright,
to
mate?
see.
He probably has a bit of an adrenaline rush going through him. You okay?
You, is it? Look at this. Thanks to you, I've done it. Well, isn't it wonderful? Now Master can be canonized as a true martyr. I've done it. I have.
And we get the roar emote.
I've done it.
Okay, you're not adding much to the conversation. So, yeah, if you recall, the Queen of Valblood was basically immortal, being, powerful vampire equivalent and all. So our executioner thought that the best, course of action was to grind her with this wheel weapon. I don't even know how that works, but it's a weapon you can acquire if you want. So that her immortality will basically mean nothing. But what we can do now is to scoop up a bit of her flesh. Believe it or not. This might be useful later. Let's see if I can get the description. There you go. What remains of Annalise, Blood Queen of Cainhurst, this pinkish lump of flesh remains warm, as if cursed. All hail the undying Queen of Blood.
That thing does look cursed.
Ew.
Alright, Lady Maria is still a bit, high on our road here, so instead let's go to the remaining optional dungeon. In order to do so, we will have to trek back to Cathedral Ward once again. So let me check quickly about this key. I think it's... Yeah, so there you go, the upper Cathedral Ward. The key to the upper Cathedral Ward seal. The upper echelons of the Healing Church are formed by the School of Mensis based in Unseen Village, and the choir occupying the upper Cathedral Ward. This key brings one a step closer to the choir. We will soon see where exactly we are in relation to what, but for the time being we need to go there where the door was closed. Also, another thing, because, in between parts, because when we recorded those, we only just had the Tomodachi Life and Mario movie, yes, Mario Galaxy movie, my bad, the directs. In the meantime, we did got both a Nintendo Partner Showcase and Sony State of Play. And unfortunately, we still also got, branching news all over the place even after those. So lots of stuff has unfortunately happened, or fortunately, depending on, your views on specific games. Needless to say, it's a mess. It's all over the place, a mess. Go. There you go. If I recall correctly, the stairs should be around here. Oh shit, I forgot about you. There you go. Yeah, sorry, Grandpa. Get your flamethrower away from me. Alright, here's what the locked door, so let's open it with the upper cathedral key. Very small door, but still. This is, again, the upper cathedral ward area. And again, this is where mostly to confirm to you a lot of things that one might have speculated up until this point, mostly the true intentions of the Healing Church, obviously. The blue elixir. stop pointing at me. Ow. There you go, both of you. There are also these adorable monstrosities, which I don't remember what they were actually called. And you can use these potentially to farm Madman's knowledge, although their drop rate is a bit on the rare side. It's not super common for them to drop it, but it's possible. Also, oh no, I forgot that these beings can cause frenzy with their attacks, so I have to watch out. Let's pop up the lantern and move on. Go. In order to get a Great Lake rune, which if I recall correctly boosts up my overall defenses. Yeah, there is a gate, but I'll need to get to the other side to open it for the shortcut. So many coffins too, goddamn. Let's see what's here. Oh, more ravens. Ow. No blood, and I don't think there's anything else. Okay. If I recall correctly, the building itself will be the more hard part to get there. Oh goody, there's a guy with a scythe. Yeah, stop pointing at me. I forgot, I think I already asked this question, but out of curiosity. Did the Undertaker had an habit of pointing at someone, you know, before a match started in order to say, basically, you're already dead?
No, he just stares at him and rolls his eyes right to the back of his head.
Okay. And we get the choir set. Specifically garb, gloves, and trousers. So let's check quickly. There you go. Attire of the choir, high-ranking members of the Healing Church. Members of the choir are both the highest-ranking clerics of the Healing Church and scholars who continue the work that began at Bergenwerb. Together with the left-behind Great One, they look to the skies in search of astral signs. They may lead them to the rediscovery of true greatness. So they're mentioning that they have a Great One around here. Uh-huh. Alright, if I recall correctly, I can unlock a couple of shortcuts just in this upper part here, but I need to watch out because the place reeks with those specific mutated people that love to just suck away your insight. So I need to be careful. Oh, hello, there's one right behind this door as well, so I'll need to watch out if I want to. Ow! Piece of trash. Good. Yeah, I forgot that there are also a couple of ambushes from this beast. This is basically the game is also occasion to have you one last major dungeon that includes the werewolf-like beast, because otherwise you wouldn't be able to justify the presence of rooms that help you specifically against the beast. Time for cleansing. If I recall correctly, I cannot. Yeah, I cannot open this door because. Yeah, there you go. That chandelier is gonna drop in a second because it has a beast on it. So. There you go. Meaning also that I have a couple of these werewolves that are going to attack me at once. So the best strategy to do is to run back to where I came from and let their numbers mean little, because they cannot pass through the door. Cheese strategy FTW. I think I mentioned him in the past, but there's one particular YouTuber guy, forgot his name, that that made kind of as a challenge to having to play the From Software games with the released at launch day IGN guide for them. So as you can imagine, it contains not only some bizarre stuff, because being a day one guide means that most of the journalists could not get 100% details right, but it still provides decent enough cheese strategies that could be still applicable to this very day to the games. So it's actually pretty cool. The way of rediscovering, because again, those were games released in the early 2010s, so the video game panorama and the especially journalist one was at least a bit different from today. So it is kind of interesting to see that kind of article making that still can work to this. Ow! No! To an extent, basically. Stop sucking. The best part about the whole thing is that if you noticed, the monster even has a burping sound effect after it's done sucking away your insight. Again, it's similar to the skeletons in the Dark Souls games. Miyazaki just wants to have occasionally a laugh.
They could at least say "excuse me."
I doubt it's in their
rude.
capacity.
I don't care.
I demand respect. Okay, let me see. No, I don't think there's anything more here. Oh, more wolves. Dweebs.
Yeah?
I forgot, how much of Stanley Kubrick's filmography have you not seen?
I'd say a decent chunk. I'll have to check.
Mostly because I can tell, just out of curiosity, me and Deji the other night bothered to try to watch Barry Lyndon, because it was one movie that neither of us, actually, not even me, had seen up until that point, and boy, it did felt like a bit of a slog.
Funnily enough, I saw the Blu-ray of it earlier, but... Okay, in terms of Stanley Kubrick films that I have seen, Doctor Strangelove,
Obviously, yes.
2001,
Clockwork Orange.
Clockwork
as well.
Orange, The Shining, Full Metal Jacket, and Eyes Wide Shut.
Also, Paths of Glory, if I recall correctly, you were in the original commentary.
I don't even really remember that.
It's been a long while, admittedly.
I'm probably not going to watch Lolita.
No, it's not worthy, I can tell you that. Even on an artistic value, there are different, other movies that you can rather watch.
I had to watch it in college. I didn't have a choice.
Oh god, how was it?
Exactly as you can expect, Liz.
Yeah, that is my response. Is ugh.
Yeah, like Like I keep hearing different things about what it's about, but the more I hear about it, the more like, okay, maybe I don't want to know what it's about.
Again, at its very surface level, you can, decompose its element as the story of a person that has to, deal with an abusive relationship and rise above it. Which, if I describe it like that on paper as a, pitch meeting, I guess it's not too bad. But the moment you start elaborating on it, it all falls apart.
Yeah.
But
again, Dweebs, I can tell you that you probably wouldn't like Barry Lyndon because it's 3 hours and more to talk about a person that is frankly not particularly pleasant. It's not like the worst person in the world, but you arrive at the 2 first mark and you just wish that the guy had received some comeuppance already. Again, at the end of the day, it's a story of a person, his trials and tribulations, across the various places that he visits. But you arrive at a point where it almost feels like he's not even much of a character in his own story, and again, the stuff that he commits really makes you feel that he should get some level of catharsis, which does roughly happens in the end, but you're at a point you don't care anymore. I don't think, Glibs, have you seen Spartacus instead?
I don't think I have.
It's also another 3-hour beast with Kirk Douglas in the main role, for some reason. And what it is, equally, a bit of a break to digest. I did enjoy it a bit more than Barry Lyndon. Let's bait this guy with a bullet.
Because from what I understand, Spartacus was that one movie where Kubrick didn't have creative control.
No, you can tell still a bit of his fingerprints by towards the end during one of the final battle when you get to see the Roman legions, coming in full force, and it's kind of a spectacle to look at, admittedly. So you can tell that his cinematography shines more with that. But other than that, it's not as much. It's mostly about Kirk Douglas flexing. Alright, from this opening that we had, we learned from this mannequin the make contact gest. Basically, L posing, this is a new one, is apparently the way to, communicate with the great ones. Don't ask me why is exactly that, it just works.
Just cuz.
It truly is, the sheer incomprehensibleness. How do I get down? I forgot. I think I'm supposed to open the door down, but I don't remember when I need to get the key. Or maybe I already got it. Well, let me give it a try.
The amount of statues is unsettling.
Yahar'gul did have a bit more, and so for material and item description does confirm that those were people, in fact.
I was going to ask.
It's not confirmed if it was something that the Healing Church did themselves, it was a symptom of a night or something more, but it did happen. Oh yeah, I got the orphanage key by defeating those 2 guys on top. So let me give it a look. The key to the orphanage, birthplace of the choir. The orphanage, shadowed by the Grand Cathedral, was a place of scholarship and experimentation where young orphans became potent, unseen thinkers for the Healing Church. The choir, that would later split from the Healing Church, was a creation of the orphanage. Interestingly enough, first of all, let me get this item here and open the shortcut. Interestingly enough, From Software released a game not too long after this called Déraciné, which is a PlayStation VR exclusive published by Sony and everything, which stars, a young girl in an orphanage that starts to witness weird events like fairies in particular, and the VR component makes you play more similar to the Echo Knight games, old games that From Software had, which functioned as kinda sorta point and click, in a sense of go to a location and exorcise ghosts, basically, to an extent, by resolving their unfinished business. They are a good time, and the Déraciné itself is an interesting game, obviously not super accessible because it's VR only. But people speculated that while it doesn't really say anything or confirm anything, it might be a stealth prequel to this one, because of a couple of the elements do seem to match of what's happening here. Just, setting a bit of a distant past. Alright, it's time for the next boss fight for this place, because it's the Celestial Emissary. You remember those guys with the big brains, the blue brains that we found in Yosefka's clinic? So those are attempts at being great ones, and I'm just being, attacked by a bunch of them, including a particular one that I need to defeat.
Recording a VR stream sounds awful, actually.
Well, I know that some people are capable of doing it. Okay, I don't remember if Markiplier ever had one of these, but I do remember that a couple of people, were able to properly record it without too many problems. But the big thing is that, you have to, it ultimately depends on how you handle VR yourself, If it causes potentially, hold on. There you go. If it causes potentially, motion sickness and other symptoms, obviously it's not gonna, nothing is gonna fix that, unfortunately. Now, basically at the halfway point, Slemmy decide to hulk out and become bigger and smarter with a big brain. So we need to, at least we can distinguish him from the others. Ow, ow. Also, for some reason, sprouts small tentacles from the brain. I don't know what the significance of those is.
Those are probably bad for the brain.
I don't know.
They look very pretty, though.
Yeah, the luminescence effect for this game in general to represent the Eldritch Horror is actually spot on.
It's like a jellyfish.
Again, the early years of the PS4 were kind of interesting because in order to showcase the new technology, almost every single game needed to have a showcase of the particle. This is why in Infamous Second Son, one of the Laura Bailey's character is the one with the neon powers, and instead your main character has smoke-like power, because that way you can they showcase the PS4 level of, particles for it. Anyways, you noticed that boss wasn't particularly, difficult, and the boss fight kinda already spoiled something. Under normal circumstances, you're supposed to basically get here, and the game gives you the impression that that's it, that's the area in a nutshell, you're good to go. But then you need to smash that window that was in front of a lantern. However, during the commotion of the fight, one of the range attacks already smashed it on its own, so, suspension broken, unfortunately. But, if you have a keen eye, you might notice that now we're standing on the upper part of the cathedral where we fought I forgot, the cleric beast that was the Vicar Amelia, where we fought Vicar Amelia. There were, if you might have noticed that I said that there was an upper part that could be noticeable, and now we're back there. This is because, again, this is where the choir stands, and if you have any experience with a church, you know that normally a choir tends to sing on the upper part, so that's why they were called like that. However, this leads to also the inner part of the cathedral. Oh, hello. Sorry, mate. Ow. Okay, as I was saying, this leads also to the inner part of the cathedral, which serves as also to be the ultimate reveal of the truth behind the Healing Church, which caused ultimately the Plague of a Beast. There's an alley that I can summon here, a great one that they have at the Altar of Despair. Now, interestingly enough, this is the one boss in the entire game that will not attack me unless provoked, and it's an optional boss, to boot. So we do have an occasion to actually give it a look. This is called Ebrietas, the daughter of the Cosmos. And she's worshipping an altar that resembles Ron the Vacuum Spider, so I don't know what the significance of it is. Maybe Ron was another great one. Maybe Ebrietas was also a mutated human. I forgot exactly what the details are. Anyway, let's fight it, shall we?
Hey!
This is technically considered the hardest boss in the optional boss in the mainline game for a very good reason. And to be fair, you are fighting a great one, so you know the game is not gonna just let you punch Cthulhu in the face willy-nilly. The real tricky part will be in the second phase. I already know that, because Ebrietas, being still a great one, will have a couple of magical attacks on her side that will be particularly hard to avoid, unfortunately. Well, I know what's the you might have already know about this monster boss, Shiroi, because you might have noticed this particular creature tends to pop up in a lot of Hear Me Out lists.
Oh, I'm sure. Yep.
You know what? Do you know what that is, Glibs?
What, sorry?
The Hear Me Out challenge, not challenge, but mentioning.
No, I've never heard of that.
It's actually very simple, hold on, there you go. It's a simple case where you're having a conversation with someone. The topic is actually brought up to. Hold on. There you go. The topic is brought up to potentially an eldritch monstrosity or a terrible being, maybe an abuser or anything, and then someone goes, okay, but hear me out, I totally would as a result. Basically the idea of, oh, you will totally simp for this being no matter what, and the challenge nowadays, these days, to see, who can come up with the most, it's kind of like the equivalent of a dare, like, who can come up with the most on that. Oh, jeez, I forgot the aura.
Also, not to be a hater, but a conventionally attractive person is not a hear me out.
No, at all. Like, yes, I get that the mentality that a lot of people tend to have is to pick someone who is emotionally abusive, very much so. But, the entire point of the challenge is, not exactly that, but on the physical side.
Like, my hear me outs are pretty basic, but, like, they're not just people.
Although I do know that it's a bit contentious, the ruling about specifically shapeshifters, because I noticed Envy from Full Metal Alchemist popping up a couple of times, and people are a bit split, Some understands why, because Envy is a natural shapeshifter, and let's just say it's not the most pleasant of the homunculi that are present in Full Metal Alchemist. But at the same time, the form that you get to see the most is the human one. Now, to be fair, if people were referring to exclusively as the beast form that the character gets later on in the series, that I can see definitely more.
Let changelings and shapeshifters pass, I think. I think they're allowed.
Oh, for changeling specifically, I get it, because one thing that, it's easy to not notice or remember, but especially in a lot of modern telling, they kept the basic idea that specifically the figure of the changeling is almost exclusively played for nightmare fuel. The idea that a shapeshifter will be someone that can terrorize your life or the ones of the people that you love. Even in particular, and Menzies Color Damien. Okay, Damien, let me give you a hand. It's also specifically from some tabletop RPGs, like the World of Darkness setting that I mentioned a couple of times. Well, again, that one was changed relatively recently, so I don't really know if it's still applying anymore. I forgot if I already asked you, Shiri, but have you ever played the Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines?
No.
Okay. It's a computer game done by Troika Games, which are the makers of the original Fallout games, so they kind of were used to the more old school stuff about multiple choices, and it's about you choosing a clan. Well, you get to become a vampire in LA, and you need to choose a clan, and because you were sired against your will, you have to deal with particularly the internal politics that are happening because of what is called literally the masquerade. The idea that vampires want to uphold the secret society that humans cannot in under any circumstances learn about them, because otherwise it will be total extinction for them. So it's a kind of tightrope walk, and there's a sort of a mystery involved. Again, it's technically a cult classic, but it hasn't aged well for the most part because it involves very questionable Chinese stereotypes, let's just say that.
Right.
And a couple of other things. But I still believe that it should be given a try. There was a sequel released recently, and while it tries to... Oh shit, I forgot. Ah, god damn it. Sorry. While it bothers to be the direct followers and try to, you know, address the more problematic aspects of the original without having to be, you know, preachy about it. Just, you know, recontextualizing in a more normal kind of way, you know. It's still unfortunately not a particularly good game because it was in development hell for a very long time, unfortunately, and as a result, and it was developed by a couple of different studios before settling onto one that doesn't have particular experience with the genre. So the end result, at least it's in regular state, it's rough. Maybe it will be patched later on, who knows. The tabletop RPG, from what I literally experienced, is also particularly fun. I also recommend the web series Hunter the Parenting, because it's actually done by... no. Okay. Because it's done by people who actually love it and basically make their own fan fiction about it. It's actually kind of neat the way it's done.
What's it called?
Hunter the Parenting. It's done by basically a YouTuber called Brava Fabusa, and it's all of it. Oh, there you go, second try. And it was basically done out of desperation because the guy was doing a Warhammer 40k series beforehand, but because Games Workshop became a bit stingy with copyright on some stuff, even just talking about their stuff apparently, yes, really, they prefer to just skirt around to something that Paradox owns the right to, and instead we're more okay with. Again, it technically takes more time because it counts as a web series with animation to it, but they release also the equivalent of what are podcasts, so as well as for in-universe stuff, and it is generally a good time. Alright, after fitting Ebrietas, check quickly, okay, inspecting the corpse here, we can offer, remember the pink flesh of the Queen of Vile Blood? We can offer that to the altar, and mention that time flows in reverse to this crop of flesh. So, by revisiting Queen Annalise afterwards, we will see that she can be perfectly restored thanks to this. So if you want to keep the Covenant of the Vile Blood active, you can do this while still, you know, being dickish towards the Queen. And she will have no real ill will towards you because you bother to resurrect her, basically. Alright, before ending the part, let's go search instead of what happened to the Executioner by going to the first place where we met him at the... at the statue of Martyr Logarius.
You know, it's funny we had the hear me out conversation on a recording for this game in particular, because I remember I was recently watching a VOD for one of Shenpai's hear me out videos, and her last one was she just put the words "from software" on screen. I was like, anything from this. Anything they make.
Fair enough. I honestly don't know yet what I would consider for my Hear Me Out, because I normally don't My taste in simping are fairly bland. I'm similar to
Yeah,
that.
same.
I'm fairly similar to Deji on that front, where there are characters who are technically evil that I simp for, that I probably shouldn't, but there's nothing particularly, different in their appearance for it. I'll need to think about it.
Like, the most abnormal one I have is GLaDOS, and even that's basic.
Even then, that's the more fucked up part is the fact that it's basically a what's the term? It's basically a gigantic metaphor for motherhood and mother abuse. Because again, Valve used to make stories with surprisingly interesting, deeper meanings beyond just surface level.
Yeah.
God, I miss them actually making games. I mean, to be fair, they're still supporting, their current games, and there's the one that they're making currently that I keep forgetting its name, that is basically an Overwatch clone. It's not too different from when they were developing Team Fortress 2. It took a lot of years in development, blah blah blah, and I'm pretty sure it's gonna be successful as well. But I kind of wish that they were starting to, writing plots again. Unfortunately, even Gabe himself admitted in an interview, because what I actually do like is that they released a bunch of documentaries for the anniversary of their Half-Life games, and in the one for Half-Life 2, even Gabe himself admits that he's unfortunately ashamed about the fact that the story was never concluded, and right now they basically hit the biggest writer's block that they ever had, unfortunately.
I mean, at least they're saying that rather than just trying to force it out.
No,
So,
yeah, instead of actually trying to make it as a cash grab, which a lot of other studios just try to do. It's, again, a bit of a hard pill to swallow, but it's a half full, half empty glass when you get down to it. Alright, if I recall correctly, I'm supposed to go here. No, because I'm going here. I go to Old Yarnam. Dare I ask, Dweebs, if you have any idea what your Hear Me Out will be?
I'm not really that much interested in
Fair
that.
enough, I understand.
That's fair.
Yeah, again, you really don't have to. It's just a thing that some people who spend way too much time on the internet tend to have. Oh, I forgot about you. Sorry, Eustace. Remember hidden path. Very funny. Wait, I forgot where I'm supposed to. Oh, actually, maybe it's right behind. Okay. Yeah, it's here. Okay. It's been a while to remember. But yeah, basically, right now, we're practically almost done with the main game. We only need to finish the Nightmare of Mensis dungeon, and we're basically done. So, again, unfortunately, we'll have to train some more, because next time we'll have to try to genuinely defeat Lady Maria.
alright.
But before ending, there you go. At the statue of Martyr Logarius, we find the executioner, who probably took his own life after what he considered, the job finished. And we get the Radiance gem, sorry, the Radiance rune, which is basically the one that we can use to enter the Covenant of, instead, the Executioners. A carrier rune that transcribes inhuman sounds. The rune for Radiance adopted by the Sworn Executioners under Logarius' command. The Executioner despised the impure Vilebloods, and no matter what the circumstances, would never cooperate with the bloodthirsty hunters who serve the undead queen, Annalise. Also, yes, it deliberately resembles the triangle of God, symbol with the eye and everything. Then again, as mentioned, Hayataka Miyazaki is also a fan of Angel's Egg, so it might be also a slight reference to the mechanical construct at the beginning and the end. Who knows? Alright, with this depressing thing out of the way, tune in next time where we try to defeat Lady Maria, and if not, we'll try to progress through the Nightmare of Mensis once more. Till then, see ya.
See ya.